Okay, I have a short one.
Okay.
Okay. I think I got one.
Okay, so are there really more than 1,600 poems?
And it seems like you have a poem you would like to read.
Okay, thanks for warming me up.
Oop,
Okay.
we lost our mic. Hold on.
Oh, I lost my mic. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's
I was
okay.
and I don't have my glasses, but somebody was nice enough to put it in 14 font.
But also no pressure.
I'm just going to pin it right there. That way. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Who robbed the woods? The trusting woods. The unsuspecting trees brought out their burrs and mosses.
To know just how he suffered would be dear, if any human eyes were near.
The province of the saved should be the art to save, through skills obtained in themselves.
The simple news that nature told, with tender majesty. Her message is committed to hands I cannot see.
Only God detect the sorrow. Only God, the Jehovahs, are no big babblers.
And had I put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility.
A quiet earthquake style, too subtle to suspect by nature's this side Naples.
You know me, sir? Simple salute and certain recognition, bold were it enemy, brief were it friend.
'Twas a small town lit with a ruby, lathed with down stiller than the fields at the full dew.
And sings the tune without the words, and never stops at all. And the sweetest in the gale is heard.
Erase the root, no tree. Thee then, no me. The heavens stripped, eternity, vast, pocket picked. Sad.
Excellent.
Heart-wrenching poem.
Ready? Great. So, what do you think of when you think of Emily Dickinson?
Like a lady who writes poems.
I really appreciate that I'm her neighbor. I just live right around the corner from her house. And so I just feel this, literally this connection. It's, you have a connection with lots of people around the world, but she really is my neighbor.
Bees and birds and flowers.
When I think about Emily Dickinson, I think about what drew me to Amherst College. Especially since I came in 2021, it was around the time that the show Dickinson was being released, and I was looking through that and got really inspired. And my grandfather was a professor, has a bunch of Emily Dickinson poetry books in our house, so I wound up moving through those as I was watching the show, and it was really comforting to think about this big change coming, that there was something that was really a source of passion that I could get into before coming here.
I think about scraps of paper in the backs of envelopes.
A strong woman who expresses herself through her work and her words.
I would say that she's sort of a sorcerer of sorts. You can say her poems and things get evoked.
I think about writing a better English 1 paper at Amherst in 1961, and I thought if I hung out in the entrance to her house that I might write a better paper. it didn't work?
I think she's great, but like I'm not like big fan, I should say. Like not like Taylor Swift. Oh my gosh, did you hear her new song? It's such a good hit. Like not that, but like I'm guessing she's good.
I think about kind of being depressed inside a house, seclusion. Seclusion and rest is what I really think about.
Well, I think about a recluse. That's the first thing that I think about. Yeah.
I don't know. Just when I think of her, I think that's a cool girl. She was a writer, and I don't know. It's inspiring because I feel like a lot of women love to write, especially just like historically. It's always been something women can do, like in the background too. It's like I don't know. It's something for the heart, you know.
Okay, I think I found one.
Okay.
You cannot put a fire out. A thing that can ignite can go itself without a fan. Upon the slowest night, you cannot fold the flood and put it in a drawer, because the wind would find it out.
Rest at noon, some men, while nature and the sun go on.
Some keep the Sabbath going to church. I keep it staying at home.
Our own possessions, they're our own. 'Tis well to hoard anew.
The house was hooked, the sun set out, faint disputes of heat. Where rode the bird, the silence tied, his ample plodding steed.
The day that I was crowned was like the other days, until the coronation came, and then 'twas otherwise.
The bustle in a house, the morning after death, is solemnest of industries enacted upon earth.
The tunnel is not lighted. Existence with a wall is better, we consider, than not exist at all.
Each with a robin's expectation, I with my redbreast and my rhymes.
If just as soon as breath is out, it shall belong to me.
This in my heart in all the fields, in all the meadows wide. Be sure you count, should I forget? Someone the sum could tell.
Since then 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day. I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity.
Beautifully read.
That's
amazing.
Thank you
so much. Do you know, when you went to her house, did you hear about any stories about her?
I heard the salacious rumor that Emily Dickinson was a lesbian and had a secret romantic affair with her brother's wife.
I heard she was gay.
Yeah.
More than any one particular story, what stands out to me most or has always kind of struck me the most is just the way she lived her life, the fact that she invested in what she cared about and wanted to do, and how much kind of richness grew from that way of being.
No, not particularly. I think just one thing that I like is the fact that she was so isolated gradually in her life, and it's relatable, kind of. And finding her creativity and kind of that isolation was nice to see.
But my favorite story is that she's clearly very spiritual and religious, and so the story was that her father had the local priest or minister come and interview her, and they spoke out in the garden, just the two of them, Emily and the minister, and then he decided that she was okay, that her soul was in good shape even though she didn't go to church. So whatever she said to him, nobody knows, it got his stamp of approval.
Perfect. Would you be willing to read us a poem?
Oh, well, sure. If your nerve deny you, go above your nerve. He can lean against the grave if he fear to swerve.
Her message is committed to hands I cannot see.
You cannot even die, but nature and mankind must pause to pay you scrutiny.
So proud she was to die. It made us all ashamed.
But it stirred, alone. Each, its difficult ideal, must achieve itself through the solitary prowess of a silent life.
Bring me the sunset in a cup.
희망은 깃털 달린 것. 영혼 속에 앉아
가사 없는 곡조를 노래하며 결코 멈추지 않는다.
And instead of tolling the bell for church, our little sexton sings. God preaches, a noted clergyman, and the sermon is never long.
These tested our horizon, then disappeared as birds before achieving a latitude. Our retrospection of them, a fixed delight, but our anticipation, a dice, a doubt.
A south wind has a pathos of individual voice, as one detect on landings an immigrant's address.
This traverse may the poorest take without a press of toll. How frugal is the chariot that bears the human soul.
Have you ever been to the house?
Yes, I have.
Anything you remember about the visit?
The gardens were beautiful. The yellow house. I think it's yellow. I remember too. I remember the a story that we found that a lot of her stuff was found after her death, and then I remember thinking later, like, what's going to happen to all of us whose stuff is on a computer, and like we never would know what great like poets there were because she just had this box of stuff right there that was accessible to everyone. That was pretty cool.
One of my favorite things is obviously her wallpaper. If I could get that wallpaper from my room, I would. It's very bright, cheerful, and inspirational. Also, every time I go on the tour, I learn something new about her life.
The wallpaper, and I was very impressed by the rugs by the floor.
I actually really loved that interactive bit of all the different words that she would choose, you know, the options of words and, you know, trying out the different ones in that space. And seeing the dress was extraordinary.
A very honest story is in the fall, we took a group of students from the high school to do a tour that the museum was piloting. And when we sat up in one of those rooms upstairs with the guides and they presented us with artifacts, pieces of envelopes, facsimiles of her work, that's when it really clicked. And to see the actual physical form that the work took, to learn about who it was meant for and how long it was hidden away for, and when ultimately it was seen by the person who maybe it was about. In that moment, I was like, oh right, this is why she is who she is, and this is why her work is worthy. I have not always had that experience, just me and her on the page, but in that space with those documents, I came away with a deeper appreciation. So I'm working on it.
My favorite thing, I think, was a glimpse of the greenhouse. I don't believe it's open to the public yet, but it's like a sunroom or a greenhouse where she grew her flowers, during the winter. And just thinking about how precious that would have been at that time, not like now where we can go to the supermarket and buy flowers anytime we want. But in that cold New England winter that she had, that warm area was just like a tender secret of the house, I think.
I think we live in a place where there's a lot of history, and it can be easy to be like, that history starts, in the coming into the 19th century, or that history starts in 1750 or whatever, the sort of when we decide that history starts. And I think I associate Emily Dickinson with one of the places we decide that Amherst history starts, right? Which is interesting and also erases these other legacies and types of histories that we have in this place. But I think, if I were to think about how Amherst begins, she's someone who I would associate with an origin point of this place.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, you can read the poem.
La esperanza es la cosa con plumas, por Emily Dickinson. La esperanza es una cosa con plumas que vive dentro del corazón. Canta una canción sin palabras y no se detiene nunca.
Could I do more for thee? Wert thou a bumblebee?
Initial of creation and the exponent of breath.
Praying that I might be worthy to destiny. The swarthy foe swam and bore my jewel home.
'Tis this, in music, hints and sways, and far abroad on summer days, distills upon uncertain pain, 'Tis this in Amherst in the east, and tints the transit in the west, with harrowing iodine.
Ethereal guest at an outcast pillow, essential host in life's faint wailing in.
The manner of its death, when certain it must die, 'tis deemed a privilege to choose.
How dreary to be somebody. How public, like a frog.
I taste a liquor never brewed, from tankards scooped in pearl.
These strangers in a foreign world, protection asked of me.
Faith is a fine invention. For gentlemen who see but microscopes are prudent in an emergency.
Embarrassment of one another and God is revelation's limit. He who in himself believes, fraud cannot presume. Faith is constancy's result, and assumes from home. Cannot perish, though it fail every second time, but defaced vicariously for some other shame.
Perfect. I didn't know that poem. Do you feel like she has shaped the Amherst community?
I think in many ways. I've lived here now for 3 years, and she is something of a mascot. One walks around and sees her face printed on posters or painted on a power box on the corner or something like that.
I think that it is a very big part of a lot of the Amherst community. There's of course other things, but she is kind of an overbearing kind of, I don't know, a ghost that haunts the town, sort of.
I think they're waking up to her. I think it's been kind of a haughty place to go. When I first moved here, I didn't want to go there. I didn't know who she was, some obscure poet that I wouldn't understand. And then when you get into her poems, you realize they're very accessible. They're full of words that everybody knows, maybe antiquated words, but and I think all the research that's been done recently in the publications has really brought, like even the Dickinson movie series on Apple, that really brought her to life in a very modern way, so that people can relate to her now. So I think they're warming up to her.
I think we love Emily. We claim her as our own. We work her words into many speeches and sayings. One of the recent first-year reads was the envelope poem book. Everybody got it. I have it. I haven't opened it, but one day I might.
Yes, I do. Because I feel like when you look at Amherst, you see a bunch of literary writers, and I feel like she was really connected to that, and her poetry was mostly about Amherst and where she grew up and her life here, and her life started here and ended here, and I think it really defined Amherst.
I think Emily Dickinson's totally shaped the Amherst community. Every town has its little claim to fame. Maybe there's like an astronaut that lives in your town, or like maybe it's like Fred's sandwich around the corner tastes really good. It's like world renowned or whatever. And we have Emily Dickinson, and I think, and I don't know, I'm not totally sure how true this is, but Amherst, we live in the middle of like a whole bunch of different academic spaces and creative spaces, and there's a lot of creative people here, a lot of writers, especially here in like Northampton, which is close by, and I think that the pull of someone like Emily Dickinson and the other writers that have been kind of prominent in New England and Massachusetts is definitely very real, and I think that's to a degree shaped the community in Amherst and kind of surrounding areas.
Wow, maybe I should write a song called Hope Never Stops. That's a good one. Thank you, Emily.
Eyes that look on waste, incredulous of awe, but blank and steady wilderness, diversified by the night.
Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality.
We passed the school where children strove, at recess, in the ring.
As if I asked a common alms, and in my wandering hand, a stranger pressed a kingdom, and I, bewildered, stand.
Older feel than the hope that prompted, spotless be from blame. How will they tell the story when winter shake the door,
till the children urge. But the 40, did they come back no more?
명성은 벌이다. 노래를 가지고 있고 침도 가지고 있으니 또한 그것은 날개를 가졌네.
The loneliness whose worst alarm is lest itself should see and perish from before itself for just a scrutiny.
From all the jails the boys and girls ecstatically leap. Beloved, only afternoon. That prison doesn't keep.
Hope never stops, it never stops. Hope never stops at all.
What are some words you'd use to describe her poetry?
Mystical, complex, alive.
Esoteric, metaphysical, sometimes complex and confusing.
Thoughtful?
Well, I think that I earlier said that she could be chilly and reserved, but underneath that, I think the word volcanic fits pretty well. You know, all of that shell over this deep, thick, muscular interior.
You know, if she really was just like scribbling on envelopes, she just like gets a thought and she writes it down, and you can feel that. You can feel the mind moving.
Her poetry is both incredibly personal and very collective. There is a reading between the lines that is for everyone, but when she writes it, she's writing to herself.
Contemplative, really elegant, grounded, but also spiritual. Sort of like concise.
Kind of magical in her use of the words. It's never how you expect her to say it. And for some of the poems, if you read it and then you read it again and you just don't get it until you get it.
It's quite alive and fragmented. Yeah, fragmented a little bit.
Like slices, like hauntings, like short staccato snippets.
Mysterious.
Yeah, mysterious and
clear. Feels like cool water to me.
Great. You feel like reading a poem?
Sure.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
I'll read 751.
Great. I think we've got. Yeah. I guess we don't worry about the traffic at
No.
this point. Yeah, we're just doing it.
No.
Yeah.
All right. My worthiness is all my doubt, his merit, all my fear.
The earth and I alone were present at the majesty.
Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell. They banish us to know. How dreary to be somebody. How public like a frog. To tell your name the livelong day to an admiring ball.
He keeps his secret safely, very. Were he to tell, extremely sorry, this bashful globe of ours would be.
That I did always love, I bring thee proof, that till I loved, I never lived enough.
Upon concluded lives, there's nothing cooler falls than life's sweet calculations, the mixing bells and palls. There is a languor of the life more imminent than pain. 'Tis pain's successor, when the soul has suffered all it can.
Our Lord so loved, it saith, what largest lover hath, another doth.
Suit me at a venture, better than the tunes.
Though in another tree she looks down just as often and just as tenderly as when her little mortal nest with cunning care she wove.
I would not paint a picture. I'd rather be the one, its bright impossibility, to dwell, delicious.
In the name of the bee and the butterfly and of the breeze. Amen.